What are your views on this? At Morning Live SABC, please share your take on this with us. And Minister Senzo Mchunu will be speaking to us about this as we try and understand what makes up all of this and how it is currently being dealt with.
All right. We won't go into too much detail. I think you're going to get all the details you need, but you know, some of the public servants have been on suspension. It can take up to 21 months for a case to finally see the light of day. I mean, some of these suspensions include sleeping on the job, or you know, things like that. So there's just a lot to be discussed on that. That is a lot of money. So let's move on quickly to the trending topics. The Minister is waiting, so we're looking forward to the conversation. As we say, AstraZeneca is also a big trending topic, and I think this has all come on the back of the fact that a lot of countries have stopped using the AstraZeneca vaccine. This is particularly European countries, basically saying that there is evidence of an increased risk of blood clots. And this is why some countries have done this, mostly in Europe. I think the Netherlands has been the latest country to stop this rollout. Ireland, I believe, also stopped the rollout of it. So the list is Bulgaria, Denmark, Norway, Ireland. So there's just a lot of stories, you know, doing the round about the vaccine. But I know that the Netherlands thrown into that equation. And as you know, we have got, I think, about 1.5 million doses of that vaccine sitting in cold storage in South Africa. So, you know, this is it's a talking point, a big talking point. But the AstraZeneca vaccine, lots of question marks about it. But obviously, some other institutions, particularly those researching it, say no, you can't say that. I mean, there's really no hard and strong evidence for the accusations saying that it increases blood clots. But those countries going ahead and saying, no, we've seen it and we're not going to take the risk. So that's AstraZeneca. Very
interestingly, though, Leanne, you know, and there's also reports, as you say, to the contrary. So one of them says of the 17 million AstraZeneca vaccines in the EU, 99.99% caused zero clotting or the chances of clotting. You know, and they go on to say that if you look at the 17 million people in the EU who have been vaccinated with the AstraZeneca vaccine, only about 40 people reported blood clots. So that's an interesting one to keep an eye on all the same.
It certainly is, but yeah, that's the talk. And I'm still, on a side note, looking at our numbers of vaccines. It's dismal.
Isn't that the $1 million question, though?
We need to talk. We need to harp on this every single day. We have to harp on it every day because it's not making sense. I mean, I don't see how we can be sitting. You know, I mean, yesterday I think we administered, I don't even know how many vaccines were given. Hardly any. It feels like maybe 1,000 vaccines may have been administered.
We need to ask more questions on it, and as you say, we need to keep our finger on this one because there certainly is a lot more that needs to be explained to us, answered to, because even if you look at where we are, comparatively speaking, and you know, given the fact that this variant of COVID-19 that we are dealing with has now spread to other parts of, let's just focus on the continent for now.
Across the continent.
And even then, we are lagging behind other countries who have received their COVAX allocations, etc.
We cannot take our eye off this ball. We really can't. And I just looked at those numbers. I mean, yesterday we had a total of 147,753 vaccines administered. The day before was 145,544. So literally just over 1,000 vaccines administered in a day. We're never going to get there.
And then factor in the fact that we have budget cuts. Let me just leave it there.
Talking about budget cuts and electricity cuts, shall we get to the next one?
Well, where shall we start?
I don't know. 5 years load shedding expected, at least minimum. That's what the Eskom CEO announced yesterday.
So, wasn't it 18 months? Not so long ago.
Yeah. Well, that's increased. It's now 5 years. So, listen, the bottom line is load shedding is with us. I don't think at this point it's ever going to go anywhere. We just got to learn to live with it, and it is becoming unbearable. I mean, it just is you twice a day, all the time. It is just everywhere, and it's I think people are really struggling.
Once again, I don't think we've had the answers because we need to be asking more questions. about why we find ourselves in the situation we're in. Even if you look at what happened last year with regard to load shedding, given that we had a lockdown, and if you compare the load shedding for last year as opposed to the year before, it makes for very interesting reading. So yeah, many more questions to be asked, Leanne.
Yeah, all right, so that's that. And then I think the last one, when we arrived this morning, we saw Prince KB. He was trending, and I think that's got to do with the fact that he joined some of the students yesterday.
Good on him. Good on him.
So he was there doing what he can to support the students for the whole movement of fees must fall and all the other issues. So that's the Prince KB trending.
The thing that caught me about the Prince KB one was the fact that he said that, remember we ran the story in the news earlier, that police say that they did not open fire, no ammunition was used, no shots were fired in Braamfontein.
Yeah.
And Prince KB saying that the student who was shot was shot in front of him. So that's an interesting one.
And just an apology on the spelling. It's not with an E, it's with an A. So it's Prince KB. Just to apologise for that.
K-A-Y.
That's it. All right, let's quickly take a break. That interview with the Minister coming up straight after this.